Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today's founder is John Dunlap, the man who printed the first editions of the Declaration of Independence. Now, John Dunlap, when he was just 10 years old, his parents over in Europe put him on a boat and sent him out on the ocean. Now, to be fair, he did have an uncle in North America whom he came to study with. He apprenticed under his uncle, and by the time he turned 20, Dunlap had opened his own print shop in Philadelphia. Now, as the American Revolution approached, John Dunlap joins the Patriots and he joins the Pennsylvania militia. He even serves for a while in New Jersey during that campaign, but then in 1776 returns to his shop to get it going again because he doesn't want his business to go under, as many enlisted men had to do at the time. Now, fortunately for him, he had some connections in Philadelphia and he was able to secure a government contract. From whom, you ask? Well, from the Continental Congress. Government contracts are not a new thing, and the Continental Congress was handing lucrative ones out. One of them, when it came to printing materials for the Continental Congress, went to John Dunlap, and that is why, when on July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was approved as a document, they sent it on over to Johnny Dunlap over here, who printed approximately 200 copies that night that were sent out around the colonies, or now we should say the states in the United States of America, to tell everyone, hey, guess what? Now you're living in the United States of America. Now, we don't know exactly how many copies were printed, but what we do think, what seems to have happened is that Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson both stopped by over the course of the night to make sure everything was going accordingly, and as we now know, it was. Now, what's interesting about his printings, they became known as the Dunlap broadsides, and as I said, these were the first printings of the Declaration of Independence, but most of the signers of the Declaration didn't actually sign the document until August 2nd. But Dunlap's broadsides have three names on them. One, John Hancock, who we know as the guy who signed really big so King George could see it. That's a little bit of a myth, but Hancock was president of the Continental Congress at the time, and as such, really the only responsibility of that position was to sign documents on behalf of the Congress. So he was the first person to sign it. Additionally, Charles Thompson was secretary of the Congress. He was not a delegate. He was also hired by Congress to be its secretary. So he attested as a witness to the approval of the document. And thirdly, John Dunlap did what most printers at the time did. He published his name at the bottom of everything he printed because, hey, it's free advertising. So, when everyone in America first got a look at the Declaration of Independence, this includes George Washington, up at this point outside of New York City in New Jersey. This includes all of the governors of all of these separate states. When they first read it, they read the Declaration, they read John Hancock, Charles Thompson, and John Dunlap, and he will forever be associated with this document. Now, that's not to say it was the only thing he ever did. In fact, his print shop is pretty successful. It's often not discussed that 11 years later, Dunlap is the first person to publish the United States Constitution. Additionally, although a lot of people were printing that very quickly as well, he was one of kind of a handful of people to do so. I will note, Dunlap, after printing the Declaration, spent several years still printing under that government contract with the Continental Congress, but he had some leaked information that he printed just a little bit early that got him fired, or I guess replaced, we should say. He lost the contract because he accidentally told everyone, hey, we just made an alliance with France, which was great news. It was just a little early. France didn't really want them putting that out there quite yet. Don't worry about Dunlap, though. He makes enough money throughout the course of his career, that he starts investing in land. Now, land speculation was something people did in the 1780s, and by the 1790s, most wealthy people had lost a lot of their money speculating in land in the 1780s. Dunlap, however, did a very good job of it, and by the time he was just 50 years old, had made enough money through his speculation and his print shop that he was able to retire comfortably and live a fairly luxurious life for the remainder of his days. A pretty happy ending to a gentleman who printed the first edition of the Declaration of Independence. I hope you have a happy 4th of July. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit like, and if you're new here, hit subscribe, because I talk about the American Revolution 7 days a week. I'll be back with another founder for you tomorrow.